Hey guys, Kevin with MCrider. If you've been on the channel this past couple of weeks at all, you know that I rode recently in the North Texas Motorcycle Challenge in McKinney, Texas. So a lot of you guys have been asking me how I did in the event, so we'll share that this week. I'll show you my competition runs, and I'll share a few things that I learned along the way as well. If you're a total noob like me at these skill competitions, I thought it'd be a good idea to describe how they work. So essentially, riders are broken into different categories based on skills and competition experience. And this year was the first year that they had a novice category for people like me who are new to this type of event. So Ken Ridout, one of the organizers, sent me a message about a week before the event, asked if I planned on riding in it. And at first I dragged my feet about riding because honestly I didn't want to get out there and look stupid because I didn't know any of the patterns. He mentioned that there was a novice category and said that there was a practice day that would give me time to learn that pattern. So I was in. A day before the event I registered and I went in with zero practice before the event. But I'm really glad that I did because I had a good time and I know I left a better rider than I went in. So you start the course from a predetermined starting point. You ride the pattern as quickly as possible. You lose points for hitting a cone or putting a foot down. You end the course within the stopping location under control and put your left foot down at the stop. So your time starts when you lift your foot, your time stops when you put your foot down. You get 3 runs at each pattern, and your worst time of the 3 runs is thrown out. The other 2 are averaged together, and the rider with the best average time wins for their category. We had a practice day on Thursday, and then the competition began on Friday. This was my first run on Friday morning. The novices ran first thing. I think there was 8 or 9 of us in the novice category. One guy came in all the way from Iowa for the competition. There were people from all over the country that came in for this. So it was a really good competition. They draw a good crowd for this and was a lot of fun doing it. My first run out there, I had a clean run, no penalties, and a time of 1:16. This is my second run of the day, and you can tell by Friday afternoon we were starting to have some rain come in. And I lost a few seconds on this run, partially because of the rain. And that kind of gets in your head a little bit. But something I learned from this is you've really got a whole lot more traction than you think you do when the roads get wet like this. Because I didn't get a chance to practice it in the rain, I went to that parking lot. You can kind of see it off in the distance there. But I went over to that parking lot before my run. I did some U-turns over there to get an idea of what type of grip or traction I would have riding this in the rain. And I lost a few seconds, but honestly, I probably could have run it as fast as I did earlier because I had gone over and watched some of the advanced riders, and they were getting a lot of lean through those corners, really leaning the bike over. There is some traction loss, but a lot of it is also mental. It gets in your head, and if it causes you to tense up or to ride a lot differently, then that's going to cause you to lose time on the pattern. But more importantly, when you get out on the street, if it causes you to have tension going through corners, then that becomes as big a hazard as the loss of traction or the potential loss of traction caused by the rain. So this was my third and final run. This happened on Saturday morning. There's a lot more spectators that will come out and watch on Saturday. So we had people along the fence rows over there watching us run. My wife and daughters were there to watch this part of the event. And they had a really cool opening ceremony that happened just right after this, where Dick Armey came out actually and helped ride in the opening ceremonies and gave a little talk before the national anthem. I had a color guard out there, so it was a really cool, well put on event. And I think it was a lot of fun for all the people that were riding in it and the people that came out to watch as well. So on this run, I had my only downed cone of the entire event. It cost me 3 seconds. You can kind of see it off there in the distance. I'm getting ready to ride by it again. But that cone cost me 3 seconds on this run. But I learned something probably that was a little more important, and we'll highlight that as soon as I get done with this run. So I ran a 1:11 for this final run through with a 3-second penalty, comes out to a 1:14, which was still my best time for the entire weekend. But let's go back and look at that one cone that I hit and what I did wrong that almost made the situation much worse. So here I am approaching the cone, but watch my head and eyes. As I hit the cone, I heard it fall over, and I looked down immediately towards that cone. That almost cost me in the next gate because I wasn't looking where I wanted the motorcycle to go. That caused me to cut that gate a little bit short, and then it took me a couple of gates after that to get it back on track. So even a guy like me who preaches head and eye placement a lot can still make mistakes like this when the tension or the pressure gets turned up. And that's one of the good things about these types of competitions is you've got people out there watching you, and it's a competition, so the pressure gets turned up a little bit. So you get some experience riding under pressure situations to see how you would react to it. With all the scores tallied, I ended up getting second place in the slow race competition, and that cone I showed you I knocked over cost me 3-second penalty, and I ended up losing first place by 0.03 of a second. So the margin on these things are really tight. There's a lot of good riders, and you got to be on top of your game to win first place. So overall, got a second in the overall competition as well, and really happy with that. Next year, I plan on MCrider being more involved in this event, and I'll give you guys a little more heads up as the event is approaching next year. And I want to encourage you to come out and ride in it, even if you're riding in the novice category. It's a good experience, and you'll get to meet a lot of really skilled riders, and I promise you that you'll leave the weekend a better rider than you walked in. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of people to put on an event like this. A couple of people that I want to call out. One of them I knew coming in, Ken Ridout, who is the designer of the course, and Ken put a lot of hours in designing this course and getting it ready. And he did a fantastic job. I took a pro rider class with Ken a few years ago. That's how I got to know him. And somebody else, Tiffany Muller. You can see some of Tiffany's photos coming up here. Tiffany Muller Photography. She was out there all weekend shooting this event. And she shot thousands of photos for this. She's in the process of getting those ready. But she gave me a sneak peek at a few of them early on, and I wanted to give her a shout out as well. It takes a lot of work to do this, and if you're looking for a photographer for a future event, reach out to Tiffany at the email you see on screen and in the description, and she'll be glad to help you out with that. So now that you know what this thing is all about, you got a year to start getting ready for it. And next year, I'd like to see even more patrons. There are a few out there this year. Some more subscribers to MCrider, a few more patrons come out and give this thing a shot. I know that you'll leave a better rider than you came in for it, and I enjoyed it, and I plan on being back out there again next year. So till next week, guys, this is Ken with MCrider, and we'll see you on the road.